Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Unsealed Lite. My name's Terry Smith. I'll be hosting the show today. And with me, as always, in the Sideshow studio, surrounded by web swingers galore, is my buddy and partner in crime at times, Guy Klender. Hey Guy, how's it going over there?
I am surrounded by fantastic toys. I am doing great.
It's your favorite place to be.
exactly. Exactly. Look at this. Four premieres right here. It's great.
Yeah, man, that's glorious. That's glorious. I'm so envious. You know who else I'm envious of? Or who I'm not envious of is this guy down here in the basement, hanging out with all my spider friends, is Mr. Paul Hernandez. Hey, Paul, welcome back.
Hello, everyone. I web swang as fast as I could from the Sideshow studio back home now. And again, we are live everywhere: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, the Let Your Geek Set Show Facebook group, and on Periscope. And a very important note today. Now, we are all really excited for this, but just to let the fans in the chat know, and I can see you guys all there now, and you guys are ready to get the show started because we have a very limited time with our guests. We actually aren't going to be taking fan questions during the show. You can still comment and let us know exactly how stoked you are for this show. But we have a prepped list of really awesome questions for our guests today. So just wanted to sort of throw that out there for everyone.
And speaking of that guest is what makes this a very special episode of Unsealed Light. We are very fortunate to have with us today Henrique Naspolini. He's the lead character designer lead character artist rather from Insomniac Games. With us today, and he's going to be discussing all things Amazing Spider-Man. We're talking about the suits from the PlayStation exclusive games, Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales games. Paul and Guy, you ready to proceed with this?
Let's
Let's do
go.
it.
All right, Paul.
All right. Let's all please welcome Enrique Naspolini. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Enrique.
Welcome.
Hey,
Hey,
good. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
All right. So, Enrique, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We are, I know you're a very busy man, so we're going to get started here. So if it's all right with everyone, Terry, I know you were sort of chomping at the bit there. I think I want to take the
yes.
first question.
I'm like ready to start steamrolling forward with this. Yeah.
Enrique, is it cool if we get started? You all
Yeah,
set?
definitely. Let's go.
All right here. So, the first thing, of course, that people want to know is what does it mean to be the lead character artist on a massive project like Marvel Spider-Man titles? And secondly, what are some of your responsibilities in that?
Right. Yeah, it means, it means a lot actually, like personally and in career-wise and professionally, like Spider-Man is it's a huge character. Is like, the most recognizable comic book actor out there, hero. So it's definitely a lot of it's an honor and it's a pleasure and also a responsibility as well. A lot of some pressure too, but we all take it like very professionally, and we just try to do our best for sure, and make sure we deliver what this character deserve in the game. So in like for my responsibilities in those projects,
Right.
I I was one of the main character artists for both both projects, and I got to work on a lot of those suits, coming up with a lot of the ideas and like visual target for the games, make sure that they looked like visually stunning, or visually like up to the Marvel Cinematic Universe standards. Like
Right.
it was kind of interesting because like the first MCU Spider-Man movie, the Homecoming, came out around the same time, or was coming out around the same time. So like
Hmm.
there's a lot of like, all right, we need to like step up our game as well because they're doing some great job there with Spider-Man. So it was a great, actually was a great influence or inspiration as well.
Right.
We looked a lot of what they were doing, and we were like, let's try to do it um, just as good, if not, try to do better for sure. So yeah.
You talked a lot, Enrique, about the recognizability of Spider-Man, how he is
Mm.
probably the most recognizable of the Marvel Comics characters. Is that including to you? Did you grow up reading Marvel Comics? Did you read Spider-Man? I mean, what does Spider-Man actually mean to you personally? Talk a little bit about that.
Um, Yeah, Spider-Man. It was it meant like it was a character that we could it was interesting because we could like relate to, of course, because and I think that's why he's so recognizable and so loved by by many people is because like it's a hero that is you can relate to because he's not all that he's not rich, he's not
Yeah.
the most I don't know, like the most pretty guy or the most popular in the school, so there's only a few people that are out there that's like that, so like I think a lot of people can relate to Peter. So that's what hit me as well, like was the being able to like see myself some situations, as well. So that was the cool part about like reading uh Spider-Man comics.
Right. And, Enrique, if I may, I think, one of the greatest things about Marvel in general is it's the world outside your window was always the
Hmm.
tag that they had had. So, and I think that's really evident in both projects that you've worked on because, like, the suits, civilian clothes, the villain tech, everything is incredibly detailed with textures, the armors, and just varied fabrics. I mean, everything. So, where do you like in your job go like where how do you approach capturing such realism in these designs?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things that I personally try to do is like once we get the concept and we start working on the models on the characters, like I think to myself like, okay, so how what the MCU would do with this character if they were in the movie, like um because that would give me like a really good start point to like think like how far I have to go and like how much how the details will work and like how grounded they need to be. It wasn't just about making the designs exactly, but what was also about making them like look and feel more realistic. So the suits, they have like seams, they have they have cloth seams, they have like
Hmm.
stitches, they have like different patterns throughout the suit, things that I don't think other games were doing before, at least on the Spider-Man franchise. So we started like playing with a lot of like, and also looking into other Marvel franchises like or other Marvel cinematic um, products like
Right.
I like to bring up like for example Daredevil in the Daredevil show, like their
Oh,
suits
right.
there have like a lot of like textures and materials. It's super detailed. It's like and not to say not to mention the movies as well, like Captain America, all the MCU movies. Like when you look at their suits, they have like all this really great amount of detail, and it's everything is like super well put together and yeah, like and realistic. So it's everything is so grounded. So that was a lot of inspiration, and that's where that's where we pushed our models as well to try to follow that, and so we try to achieve a lot of the cloth material response, even like and also the spandex, so it doesn't look just like a spandex but like also has like our breakup between different areas of the
Oh,
textures, different fabrics, different materials. So it was a lot of we put a lot of thought into in making these suits for sure, and try to make them more realistic
It really
and
shows. I
grounded.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it really
yeah.
shows. You can see it a lot, like as you said, in all the different paneling and the textures, and sort of across. In some aspects, you'll see a little bit of tactical, but also a lot of like sports active wear inspiration is what I'm noticing there a
Hmm.
lot. Um, Speaking to that, a lot of the characters in the games are constantly in motion. There's just so much dynamic energy going on at all times. Even when the characters are sitting still and not doing it, there's just a lot of action going on around them. Um, how did the designs take this into account, or vice versa?
Yeah. So yeah, keeping that in mind, like the designs were were made to for for Spider-Man and all the characters to be like agile, right? So like it's like all the Spider-Man suits are very like um they're very sleek. They're very with some exceptions here and there, like, but and even like some of the enemies or the villains, they also have some more like flexible or sleek designs where they allow them to have that amount of movement. Like I think with the only exception being maybe Rhino because he's so big. He's like he's probably a armor, like a walking armor, or
Or a
a
tank.
walking arch. Yeah, yeah, a walking fortress. But yeah, like taking consideration all that Spider-Man has to do and the other characters have to do, like all the suits were made with that in mind, like flexibility and in movability as well. So
Yeah, I mean that it looks so awesome, and I think one of the greatest things, whether you're talking about the first game or the Miles Morales game, is the level of like kinetic energy, like Terry was talking about, constantly, and you can see it even in some of the figures there by Hot Toys. So
hmm
sort of bouncing back and forth there between the original game, Marvel Spider-Man and Miles Morales. The question I've always wondered, and I'm glad we get to ask you, is how did you and the entire team approach making Miles feel, very similar to the same world that you got comfortable in Spider-Man, but yet similar to his predecessor, but or I'm sorry, like unique in his
unique,
own
yeah.
version of Spider-Man. So how did you balance that?
That's a good question. Like when we were working on pre-production for Miles, we had this concept, right, which was based on his traditional original design from the comics, right, which is like
Mhm.
pretty simple actually. Like is a black suit with just red details, and the design tried to push it a little bit more. Um, but when we were working on the suit for the Miles Morales game, we noticed that it would be cool if we introduced it a few more elements, and also try to kind of tie it together with what Peter was had or what Peter did with his own suit on the first game, right?
Mhm.
Like so. Um, to kind of because like I think the logic is like, well, if it kind of made sense, like if Miles is a kind of like a student of Peter or apprentice of Peter, like he would probably try to copy some of those things that he saw on Peter's suit. So like we started to introduce like the gauntlet. You can see like the Miles suit has the gauntlet as well, but it like of course is black.
Oh,
Uh,
right.
yeah, so the gauntlet is really similar to what the gauntlet you see in the Peter suit. There are other details in the Miles suit that is also like it kind of like feeds from the designs of the Peter or the choices of having like a bit more of like a padding here or a little bit of armor there. But we felt like okay, what a teenager of like I guess I forgot how old he's in the game, like 16
About
or
16, yeah.
about 16. So what a teenager of that age that is trying to copy or trying to or being having inspiration from his mentor, like what that teenager would try to do to make his suit unique, right? So he started like looking at shoes as well, and the web shooter, the some of the fabric as well. I think and I think the what I like to point out, like for Jisoo, for example, is like the shoes. Like when you play the game, you can see I don't know if people notice, but like you can see kind of like an evolution of how the shoes goes from the very first suit that you play in the game, which is like the streetwear suit. It's more like it's just like a sneaker, like a full-on sneaker, super bulky, like with the tongue,
Right.
the tongue of the shoes, like the laces are there and then stuff. And then to the second suit, it kind of just gets a little smaller, but it's still a shoe. It's a little bit more it's slick looking.
Right.
Gives him a bit more of mobility. But when he goes into the final suit, you still have that shoe kind of like call out. You still look as a shoe, like you still can see the tongue. There's a zipper, but it's a bit more like integrated into the suit. So like it's like almost like when he goes into his final stage of the suit, like he full integrated the shoes on the design, and make it everything a bit more integrated. So
Yeah, they've evolved with the rest of the suit.
exactly, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow.
So yeah, no, sorry, I was just gonna complete here that yeah, there's a lot of thinking about like how to make him a teenager outfit, like a unique outfit as well, and also not to mention like being respectful of the original design, right? Because we didn't go with like a full-on like brand new design like we did with Peter's suit in the first game. We kept the traditional design, but we also wanted to do like this kind of like kind of call like the Insomniac twist onto it, which it's so if you look at it, it is basically the traditional your original design, but like if you look at closer, then there's like elements that it's more what we like to do in the games, so
The Insomniac Twist, I like it.
yeah.
It's not to be confused with the Terry twist. That's
A new dance move.
Yeah.
that's just such a ridiculously awesome a number of costumes when you combine the two games together, especially that have been designed for them. Enrique, what did you find to be the most challenging of them?
The most challenging
Costume or character, either one.
Oh, the most challenging suit or character to make.
Yeah. Speaking for you yourself personally.
Yeah, no, I think well the Miles suit it was like since like we made the suit after we already had experience with so many suits, right? So like it wasn't necessarily super challenging to make. It was like a lot of work for sure, but like it was like at that point it already felt like super like natural to just like do those things. I think the most challenging for me was probably like the first one I made, which was the Stark suit, which is the movie one.
Right.
Because like I said, the movie was coming out at the same time or like near before or after. I don't remember exactly anymore. And when we make the suits based on the movies, we wanted to make sure it was like super identical, right? So like it was just challenging to get to find references or to get it as close as possible, like every single detail, like every design, like every accent line call out, like even like all the fabric details, the different fabric details that we have, like for the blue fabric and for the for the red fabric, and also like the the eyes, the lenses. So it was challenging because of that, because like we just wanted to make it as identical as possible, and I think we were successful with that. But
yeah, I'd say so.
Definitely. That was the most challenging. Was that also your favorite, or was there another one that was your favorite?
Favorite?
Yeah.
I have a lot of favorite suits, but I would
don't pick your children.
Well, this Mayo suit is one of my favorites for sure, because like I said, it's one suit that came like after so many that I've done before, and like I put a lot of like ideas on it, like, and I think the result came out like very polished and very cohesive, very clean, and very respectful to the original product. So this is one of my favorites. I think another one that is one of my favorites too, like I had a lot of fun making it, was the I guess you call it the OG Iron Spider, which is like the Iron Spider suits based from the Iron Spider from the comics and not from the
Civil
MCU.
War. Yeah.
Because like
with the 3 tentacles and
yeah, exactly. I had a lot of fun with that. It was a blast to do it, and and again, we were able to also do our like our Insomniac Twist as well. If you compare to the comics, you can see like how the design is there, like is intact. The the basic design is there, but like we were able to like push it a little further in terms of the design. And I've I seen some pictures on the internet about that suit you guys made. It looks amazing too. So it's really uh, it's really how can I say? It's really impressive to see that like coming to life, like one to one, pretty much. So.
Right, and Enrique, I think not only did you capture like the feel of Spider-Man and everything so perfectly, but I think one, you'd sort of mentioned it right at the top of Terry's question. There is like all of the hours that go into creating maybe just one of them. So I think I've got like I'm gonna queue up $1 million question for you. Is what do you hope that players and and collectors take away when they see these incredible character designs in either the games or on their shelves from Hot Toys? Like, what do you hope they see when they see the designs or the figures from Hot Toys?
I just hope that people, like, the players and the Spider-Man fans, when they see these, they can be sure that we put a lot of work into them. We were, did, push it and worked really hard to make sure that we were delivering the best product and the most respectful product for the character as well and for the fans. Uh, um, like I said, there's a lot of thoughts that go, like the team gets together and we give like each other feedback, and we really like when we make them, we really go down to the finer detail. I'm sure you guys know because you also do this on your products as well, and so you can see how much detail we put in our models as well. So like yeah, the fans they can rest assured that we put a lot of work and just to make sure that the character is being respectful and we have the best product out there. So
Well, speaking as one of those fans who's been following Spider-Man since the 70s with the cartoon and since the 80s with the comic book and now moving into the video game realm, I can say that it's I can definitely see all the effort that went into it. You and your team have taken these costumes, these characters, and moved them into another era. And I'm really excited to see where it's gone so far and where it's going to go in the future. So thank you for that, and thank you. I'm really excited that we had you here today, Enrique. Thank you for showing up.
yeah, thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
for
and
having me.
Enrique, I know our fans and everyone watching, and of course, as Terry just said, we're so appreciative of your time. Seriously, we thank you so much for being here and literally just shedding the light on that. Everything that you have done and your team has done is basically, it's for people who love Spider-Man by people who love Spider-Man. So, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah, it was awesome. And again, we appreciate you being here so much.
Yeah,
We've got
thanks
a
for having me, for sure.
we've got a few minutes left. I think that there's an opportunity here to just like do a little bit of a roundtable.
Sure,
I'm
definitely.
really kind of curious, guys. What is your favorite suit? Start with Guy. Guy's been kind of quiet back there. You've been the one who has to
Well,
look at these things so close.
I've been enamored, and as you were talking about the textures and things like that that you developed in the game, that is all done right here in the 6 scale that Hot Toys has done. There are so many textures going on with each and every one of them. The bodega is definitely a standout for me. I love that idea. However, I also think that the classic suit Spider-Man, this is of course what I grew up reading and I had to make sure that that was the suit I got to play with in the game, and I love seeing that here. So it was really, really great to see it. The other thing you talked about that is important to definitely to those of us that on Unsealed and Revealed, but those that watch, is when you talked about the shoes. Whether or not you're aware of it, the shoes are also super important here on our show. That we do a whole section called the Tread Watch, and when you talked about the different shoes there, you'll see all of the treads that you created, Hot Toys has gone and replicated these from
Oh yeah.
rollerblades with the rockets on the side to all of them. So it's great to see them there. I think from the Marvel Spider-Man game, the classic suit is my favorite, and the Bodega Cat suit from the Miles game. But what I'm loving about the game, and of course with the toys, is getting further along and getting to play with all of the different suits, and to see how much work that you've put in there. I think in the end, I'll probably have as much time playing the game hour-wise as you had in designing and creating it.
He's probably like, I seriously doubt it.
What about you, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, as like,
Do you have a favorite?
I do, and it, of the ones that we have on display, seriously, it's got to be that Bodega Cat suit. I just want that sweater that he's wearing. I really want it, and I love one of the really subtle elements on a majority of the Miles figures and the Miles suits is some way, in some fashion, you guys, Enrique, you and your team did a great job of incorporating, like I said, music into it. And I love the subtle hint of his headphones around his neck, because that is like the most 16-year-old New York Miles Morales thing is, he's got to have those headphones. But then from the game, because I'm a comic book fan, I'm particular to the Secret War suit. I really love it. I love the blue. I have that particular issue. The Last Stand suit where he's got sort of that fold-over jacket is really great from Amazing Spider-Man 58. That's just a really cool suit that, like, you could tell that you guys are just such huge fans. And someone was just like, we need to include this. So it was really cool to just see that as someone who's been reading forever.
Yeah, no, the cool thing about the Bodega Cat suit is that it is a original suit for the game. It wasn't made like in the comics, right? So like we had a chance to Marvel was like kind enough to let us like design some original suits for the games. We have done that as well for the first Marvel Spider-Man game. And funny thing about this suit is it kind of became, or it kind of became reality kind of by accident a little. It was there was this mission in the game where Spider-Man had to save the cat, and then we started like just kind of joking around like because like he had to carry the cat in the backpack, and we started to like joking around like, oh, what if the cat had a Spider-Man mask, I remember we were in a cafeteria just like joking around, and like, and it was like, oh, and people were like, yeah, that would be cool. That would be a cool idea if the cat just stayed as part of the suit instead of like just go away after that mission, and if the cat was fighting crime with Spider-Man as well from that moment on, so it's like, and they just start to grow in the whole team. Like the whole company was like, yeah, let's do this suit, and like. And then we after having that little brainstorm about having that cat as part of the suit, like then we started like working on the concepts. We started like adding the hoodie and all this stuff, and then designing the rest of the suit, so it's not just like the the other suit with a backpack and the cat. So like we end up making a full like original like full entire new suit for that one for the Bodega Cat. So it was like an interesting story. It was like a whole company was rooting for that suit for sure.
the little cat who could. I mean, as all great things do, they usually start in a cafeteria. Terry, what about you? What is your favorite suit?
Classic suit. Duh. Long-time Spider-Man fan. I mean, I really, really genuinely appreciate Miles Morales. I mean, I've been a huge fan of the character since his inception. Thanks so much, Brian Michael Bendis and everybody at Marvel for making that happen. It was really a breath of fresh air into the Spider-Man universe. But I just really appreciate all the extra steps that were taken to create that environment, to have the scorpion tail, bringing that in, actually telling a story, not just with the figure, but with all the elements that accompany it. It's just such a great concept, and I always love it when I'm able to implement extra elements into my display. And Hot Toys really appreciates this. You can see it because they do it quite a lot. They don't do it with every figure, which I think is what makes it extra special when they do. So So yeah, that's definitely my pick from what we're seeing on here. Now, obviously, I think that the Spider-Punk suit is probably a personal favorite. I think everybody knows why. That being the fact that it's the only one that comes with a guitar. So yeah, there you have it.
Yeah, with that incredible scorpion tail, man. Oof, look at that. Uh, well, before we, Enrique, before we let you go, I gotta know
Yeah.
which of these figures is going up on your shelf. If you had to
One.
pick one of them to go up on your shelf today, which one is going up?
If I have to pick one, would be the Bodega. They are great. I really like the 2020 suit.
Mm.
Does it light up? Does the helmet
Yes.
light up?
Yes,
The
it
helmet
does.
and the
Does.
chest.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that suit is just it just came out like unbelievably cool. It was like uh that suit we only had to make that suit we only had like a cover of one of the was a special cover of one edition of the Miles comic book. That was the only reference that we had, and but it was like it was such a cool suit from that one cover that we wanted to make it so badly, and I'm sure the artist that worked on it had a blast work on it as well. And the cool thing about these suits that we don't have a lot of concepts for them, or we only have one shot or just one cover or something like that, is um, we have the ability to start like thinking about the suit and putting like our own ideas or trying to figure out things without changing to, of course, the design, but we're like figuring out things that we can't see in those images. It's like
No.
I think yeah, making that suit was a blast for sure. So I think I would go with that one.
Getting to put the Insomniac twist on it, as you said.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's
I love-
that's a perfect choice. Yeah.
I love how you guys reproduced all the little gel kind of gel looking materials on the shoes and on the suit and the fingers as well. That's super cool.
Yeah, Hot Toys the eye for detail that Hot Toys brings to the table when they create these figures is first rate. You can
Yep.
always expect that. So yeah, I agree. That's they really were on point with this one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely like it looks pretty much like definitely 1-to-1. I can't believe those fingers there. That candy looking materials is unbelievable.
Nailed it, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the special episode of Unsealed Light. I want to thank once more Enrique Naspolini for joining us for this chat.
Thank you, man.
Very, very happy to have you on board. Thank you for taking the time. Yeah, also thanks to our partners at Hot Toys for continuing to create such great Spider-Man figures for us to line our shelves with. Keep it up. Really excited to see what else they have coming down the pipe. Beyond that, we'll see you next week for another episode of Unsealed Revealed. And until then, don't forget to let your geek side show.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.